Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-280-2144. 800-280-2144. 800-280-2144. Call right now. That number again is 800-280-2144.
The following is a live copyrighted presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for RadioLawTalk.com with your host, Frederick Penney, attorney at law. And now, RadioLawTalk.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of Radio Law Talk. It is a beautiful day. It is the 21st of March, 2020. We're having a great time here, hour number 3. Just a quick note, I just don't want to forget this. Our second hour at the end, we're talking about martial law, and we're going to talk a little bit about it during this time period. Martial law is spelled M-A-R-T-I-A-L. The martial, S-H-A-L-L, which I just want to make sure it's clear, is not the martial law that they discuss under the Constitution. I don't know why. Maybe it's late or early. I don't know what the thing is. I talked about martial and spelled it wrong.
Fred has a coronavirus
Yes.
acutely attacking the logic center of his brain.
Yes.
It's a very rare, in fact, it has only affected one person this way.
It's Martial, M-A-R-T-I-A-L, and I
Yes.
knew that. And that's funny, I knew that, but I don't know why I mistakenly said that. Just remember that's the situation. 855 Law Radio, or tweet us at Radio Law Talk. That's why we say we're talking about general areas of law. Seek local counsel. We're not dispersing legal advice nor spelling advice, because I spelled it wrong. So remember that. We're going to talk about martial laws. We're going to very briefly hit on a number of little tiny things. We're going to do a super fast, quick discussion on a number of topics. Katy Perry's lawsuit. We're going to talk about Supreme Court cases and how it affects them. Some cases that are coming down right now that are put on stay, which is everything is. Weinstein, Michael Avenatti, and we're going to do our quick takes this hour. And then most important, more than any of that stuff, we're going to do a case or no case, which everyone enjoys. Cal, let's just do case or no case.
Now it's time to play Case or No Case.
And by the way, this one is for an area of specialty, not an area of specialty, but what Denise Dirks likes to do, the cases she likes to take. Family law. So our resident family law practice attorney, Denise Dirks. So a man in Mexico, let's call his name Pablo, was in a mariachi band, hired for all kinds of gigs, public gigs, private gigs. One gentleman heard them singing a song called If They Would Only Let Us. And when he heard that song, it struck a tender portion of his heart. And he decided it was perfect. That gentleman's name, Eduardo, hired Pablo's mariachi band to go to Eduardo's home. Pablo was there playing the acoustic bass guitar, and as they struck up the very romantic song, If Only They Would Let Us, Eduardo's girlfriend stuck her head out of the window, and Pablo nearly dropped his guitar. Because the head poking out of the window, Eduardo's girlfriend, was his wife, who told Pablo that she was going out of town for a girls' night only weekend.
Whoopsie.
And instead she was in for a boys' night only weekend, as it were. And so Pablo was muy triste, or very sad, as they say in the Hispanic language. And on Monday he sought the counsel of a divorce attorney. And so I ask you, and I think, Denise, it's your turn to go first.
No.
No,
It's
it's
mine.
Fred. Fred? Okay, I ask you.
You can't have the person whose area of law it is go first.
Fair enough. Mr. Penney.
This is bizarre because what is okay? So he filed a divorce. All right. What's the question?
What do you
I
think
mean,
he did? Do you think that's a divorce-worthy moment? Do you think it was a case or no case? And if so, what was the outcome?
That's bizarre. I mean, it's like, okay, great, whatever. Yeah, you could file a divorce for that. You can file a divorce if he doesn't like the way that his wife eats chocolate chip cookies. It don't matter, but you can do whatever you want. Is this a scenario? Is this real? A mariachi band dude found his wife romantically involved with a guy he was going to do a gig at his house. Is that true?
There is a strong sense of irony in the story, isn't there?
There is. He found. I'm going to say that's. It's so bizarre. It's just so bizarre that I would say no case, but I'm going to say it's a case, and he did divorce his wife, but he can divorce his wife for whatever reason he wants. I know there's some states there's got to be reason, and some you don't have to have a reason for divorcing, or some countries. This was in Mexico, correct?
Jalisco, Mexico.
Okay,
Jalisco.
so the answer is it's a case, and I'm going to say that he could divorce his wife, but.
You seem bored by this one,
Yeah,
Fred.
I
I'm
do.
so
This is
sorry.
so stupid. But did I say that? Oops.
But no, you didn't have to. Mr. Cunin, what say you? Case or no case?
Well. If there was ever a reason to discourage one from becoming a mariachi band player, this would be it.
Don't you think?
Yes. So, I'm going to say this because it's Mexico, and I don't really know the jurisdiction down there, but I do know that the South American countries are heavily influenced by the Catholic Church, as that was responsible for colonizing and heavy influence in Central and South American countries. And because of that, and because of the stance on divorce, I would say that there has to be something proven. And even though she was there maybe with the intention to engage in adulterous activity, I think that somebody would view this as an intervention of sorts by playing the song, "If Only They Would Let Us." It acted as a barrier from a completion of the act. Therefore, the valid grounds to support a divorce did not exist. So it is a case, but Eduardo, is that his name?
Eduardo was
Pablo.
the bad guy. Pablo was the good guy. Yeah.
Pablo loses because he is unable to prove that something actually happened.
That's good analysis.
So that's going to be, it is a case, and Pablo loses.
All right. That's. I appreciate your thoughts on that, Ms. Dirks.
Translated.
What
Wrong.
say you?
So
No.
Eduardo,
yes.
he was also living in Mexico.
She was in Eduardo's home at the time. This
In
all
Mexico.
occurred. Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a couple of lawsuits that actually come to mind. There could be an interference with spouse's affection, right?
Of course.
That could be Pablo versus Eduardo. Doesn't have to be against his wife, correct?
That's very good. Yes. Good thinking. Yeah.
The Catholic Church has to approve of a divorce ultimately. So maybe the Catholic Church is not going to approve of the divorce. That's another thought. The adultery, kind of on the same line with Todd, adultery may not be the grounds for divorce in Mexico. I mean, we don't know. We don't know the laws in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And it could be that it's a fault kind of an issue, and he has to prove fault, like Todd has indicated.
Exactly.
So
was the affair consummated, so to speak?
Well,
as it were,
it's the
something like
doctrine
I
of
already know what the answer is.
it's the doctrine of immaculate blockage, and so that didn't happen.
I know exactly what the answer is. Let's
So-
get this over with.
so
I
I
told you
think
Fred was bored.
that this
I
is
know what it is.
I think this is a scenario.
A
Or no, I
scenario.
don't know. I'm going to say no case.
No case.
No
I'm
case.
just going to say we have to stay with it there. It's a case, and Todd's dead on because it's so off the wall. You'd think, okay, that's an automatic divorce. He couldn't get the divorce because of the way the law. I think Todd nailed it. I'm just going to say that we're staying with what we are.
And I think it's no case because I think he knows the law in Mexico.
Okay, here we go. We're going to do this when we get back, are we, Cal?
Yeah, I tried to find the song. If only they would
know.
let us. I couldn't find it,
Well, I think
It's in the
this is-
produce section.
and I am sick about it.
No, it's in
If only they would let us.
Oh my gosh. Third hour jokes are not allowed. Only first and second hour. By third hour, they get worse.
Oh, wait till
okay?
you come up to my quick takes.
All right, we're going to do quick takes when we come back. We're going to do when we finish with this. We're going to talk a little bit about martial law, MARTIAL law. Katy Perry, this is interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about why the Supreme Court is taking a recess and how it's going to affect us. We'll be back after this.
As Fred just told you, there are a lot of things coming up right here on Radio Law Talk, and you won't want to miss not even one of them. So stay tuned, whether you're listening on RadioLawTalk.com or on your favorite radio station. It's all good. And we'll be right back.
Advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com.
Jason Ross back here with Fred Penney, managing attorney from Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types of personal injury cases. We're former insurance company trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
That's Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or give them a call, 1-800-616-4LAW. That's PENNEY lawyers.com.
This is Denise Dirks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Hi, I'm Frederick Penney of Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers. I bet you're tired of hearing lawyer commercials. So just relax and listen to music for a few seconds. When you or a family member has been injured, call 800-616-4LAW or see us at PenneyandAssociates.com. See, that wasn't so bad.
I'm going to Quick Quack Car Wash. Get my car washed, make it quick, quack, pretty, shiny, sexy, just because I want to. Don't drive dirty. Going to get my car suds at the Quick Quack Car Wash. It's the Quick Quack, quickest and the cleanest by far. We're talking 3 skinny minutes sitting right in your car. Watch 100 feet of cloth. Washing your car at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Any Honda, Mazda, Ford, or Chevy, Sauber, Cadillac, Quick Quack will spruce her up just like that. You'll be happy looking snappy. You'll be glad you was at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Get on the web and go to don'tdrivedirty.com and see where you got your closest Quick Quack in the local area. Get in your car, get in your truck, get on the road, come visit the duck at the
Quick Quack Car Wash, where your car will always leave happy, guaranteed. They take pride in being clean and green by conserving and recycling the water they use, only at the
Quick Quack Car Wash.
This is Frederick Penney,
Todd Cunin,
And Denise Dirks with a personal invitation to you who have a business that could benefit from a little national exposure.
Radio Law Talk is heard in more than 35 markets across the United States, and Radio Law Talk provides that opportunity.
Some of you have listened to the show and thought, my business should be advertising there right now. We agree.
So email info@radiolawtalk.com.
And we'll get right back with you.
Let us help your business grow in multiple markets. Email info@radiolawtalk.com now.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran, but after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done. and more victories to be won.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. I am a veteran. My victory is just enjoying each day.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
That is Armadillo. Oh, come on. Oh, stop it.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penney.
Cal, what say you about the Mexican mariachi band man that happens to see his wife?
I think it's a wonderful tale of a man who just looked up there and thought, this is going to be so great. I'm going to help this guy have a wonderful moment. Wait a minute, that's my wife up there. You can't, and by the way, those of you who say this is a scenario, who said that? Somebody said it was a scenario?
Not a case. Raise your hand, Denise.
Those of you who say it was a case, let's see from that. That'd be Fred and Todd. Well, congratulations to you.
Yes, we did it. Todd, I hope are you keeping points, Cal, or
I am.
Good, because I'm getting points here, man.
Yeah, Fred,
I think
you've had a 5-point day today, Fred.
It's been a great day so far.
And Todd also had 5-point day. Denise has 1. Now, listen.
I had 2.
The priest and the judge both said adios to the mujer, the woman. Goodbye. Get out of here. She's gone. The divorce was granted. The judge said.
So
I lost.
You lost. So you got 1 point. I got
only
2.
1.
Yeah.
So I got 2 points. Todd got 1, and you got 0.
I thought you agreed with Todd.
No. I said he gets the divorce. So Cal, it's Fred gets 2. Todd gets 1.
Denise gets
0.
2.
Oh, 0.
Was there anything specifically they said you were going?
I was going to say that the judge said this is the fastest divorce I've ever granted.
Wow.
It was like, he saw the evidence and went, okay, see you, bye.
Wow. So Fred Penney was right on.
Nailed it. That's case or no case,
Denise,
ladies
how many?
and gentlemen.
I got
2. You have 13. Ooh. He has 11. I have 18.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know how I got so high, but I just been kicking it when I first got back.
Because the dispensaries are still open.
Dispensaries are doing well. That's why. That's how you get so high.
That's why you're not so panicked. You've been very mellow today, Denise.
I have.
So Fred has 13, you say, and Todd has 11.
11,
yes.
And then Denise has 18?
Yes.
Those of you who are just joining us, case or no case is the first person to 50 points.
I demand a recount.
The 50 points, that person gets a free dinner, and the other other hosts have to pay for that dinner. And by the way, I will tell you the first one that we did, at least the dinner we did, it was $100 and some odd dollars a plate, about $120 a plate that I got. And then we went to one that was about $30 a plate with Todd. That was better food.
Yes.
That was much better
I
food.
can already tell you if I win this one around, even though I'm in last place right now, you know where we're going.
You know what? Should we shout them out?
Yes.
Why not?
Cattleman's.
Yes.
That's right.
Cattleman's Restaurant is a excellent food. I mean, we went the $125 a plate stuff, and Cattleman's was about $30 a plate. And Todd and Denise,
it was better.
Todd, you've never been there, have you?
I live literally, the restaurant we went to, I live less than a mile from it. And I have lived in this town for 18 years. First time I've been there.
Yeah, those of you who are living from
it's
Illinois and New York and Georgia that are following us, and Utah and Nevada, it's California. If you're in California,
it's a small regional chain.
They're good. Oh, wonderful. There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
We did just get one that's like nationwide, just opened up in California that I haven't tried yet, but I used to love it when I was in Tennessee.
All right, we'll try it. Martial law, MARTIAL law. What's going to happen with this coronavirus? Will the government come out and say that they're initiating martial law that is only done by the President of the United States or can be done within the state by the governor? And what the martial law, it kind of falls under the habeas corpus. It's under Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution. Basically says the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when a case of rebellion or invasion of the public safety may require it. Basically, there's been only a few times that martial law has been implemented. One, the Battle of New Orleans, the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, the earthquake of 1906 in San Francisco, the Omaha Race Riot of 1919, the 1920 Lexington riots, the Nauvoo, Illinois during the Illinois Mormon War, or the Utah War and the 1934 West Coast waterfront strike, and then the civil rights movement in response to the Cambridge riot of 1963 is pretty much the closest ones that we've had. But martial law is where the president can actually, it's the military kind of takes over. He brings the military in, or she, if she's the president, or the governor in their state. And will that be imposed here? So far, I would, no. But
right, and a lot of governors have been asked that question, like Governor Cuomo in New York. He's been asked that question many times because right now the hot spot and the epicenter, if you will, is New York. They're having so many, and New York City in particular, they're just having so many new cases. And he has constantly said he's not considering martial law and bringing in the military. However, he did bring in the reserves, the Army reserves, for one little area of New York that was the initial spot in New York where many people had gotten infected, and they were trying to quarantine and enforce a quarantine.
One of the things to consider here is, look, martial law is imposed to protect the public, to protect folks. And I hate to say it, but this is where math comes in, okay? And so we talked a little in the last hour, I think it was, we talked about the infection and mortality rate of those who get infected by coronavirus is not nearly as high as it was with SARS or MERS or H1N1 that had happened in the last 20 years. And so when you look at this and you see that 100,000 infected, and that's led to, or millions infected has led to 1,800 deaths, and you look at that disparity, it may be difficult to warrant going military. If the ratio were different, if this were like the Black Plague of the, Renaissance
or the Spanish flu in the early 1900s,
if this were something like that, where if you get it, you're
dying.
Your survival rate is very low if you contract it. A completely different analysis here. And so that may be why. And I hope, my hope is that the virus doesn't mutate or change at all to change that to where it would be necessary. Not because I want to avoid martial law. I want to avoid the death.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and for some reason, they don't know why yet, but men are more susceptible to dying from this disease. It's two.
Really?
Yes,
I didn't know
two
that.
men for every one woman.
Well, that's no loss.
17,000 cases, 17,300 in the U.S. so far, with 220 deaths.
That's small.
Yeah, very small number.
Well, it is
overall.
small, but you look at the curve. Like they put a curve for Italy, how it grew, and literally it's flat and then it goes up.
Spikes.
I don't believe in the Pell curve.
Yeah,
I don't believe in the
Italy
Bell
had 70.
Or was that school? I didn't.
70
believe in.
plus
I don't know,
new
because
deaths
I was always in the
overnight.
bottom of it.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Radio Law Talk will continue. Don't go away.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com.
Jason Ross back here with Fred Penney, managing attorney from Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types of personal injury cases. We're former insurance company trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
That's Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or give them a call, 1-800-616-4LAW. That's PENNEY lawyers.com.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less. 800-263-2610. 800-263-2610. That's 800-263-2610.
This is Denise Sturks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
If you pay my fee, I'll take your case.
Time to get back to Radio Law Talk on RadioLawTalk.com and on your favorite radio station.
Well, I think we just finished up talking about martial law. Is there anything else you want to? It's not being implemented yet. We're not. If it comes to that, we'll talk about it later. But for right now, I think we're just going to move on from martial law. Yeah. So I want to talk about Avenatti. It's a very interesting thing. So Michael Avenatti is in prison right now, or is it jail? I can't remember if he's in prison or jail. I believe he's in prison.
He's in a jail. I think he's awaiting sentence.
Awaiting in California.
Yes.
That's right. He's in jail. But what he did, he just did a motion with his attorneys to say he wants to be relieved from jail temporarily from a federal jail, citing issues that he's got a bout of pneumonia and where he's staying has filthy conditions, which he's probably. I don't think they would keep it that filthy. I think they're pretty good about keeping it clean, but I'm sure compared to where he used to live, it is.
It's a very subjective analysis.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, compared to what I'm used to.
Yes, that's exactly right. But basically, he's trying to get out, and saying he's and be put freed under electronic monitoring until this pandemic is over, because he's worried about in the jails getting the coronavirus. So there he goes. He's trying to get out and say, look. I don't want to get the Pandora.
Pandora? Yes.
I don't want to get the
It's a very
virus.
boxy virus.
Yeah,
by the way,
how do I want to get the virus? So send me out of jail.
And that would be a very what would you call it? A kind of a defenseless kind of population to the virus. I mean, if it gets into that system.
I mean, the jail system.
Yeah.
What do they do?
That's just scary.
However, of all of the places. Look, we have all of these things going on trying to stop the spread among people who have the liberty to come and go. But if there was an environment that had the best hope of being able to clamp down on it to prevent things from coming in and going out, you would think it would be the prison environment, because they can immediately limit all visitation. By the way, that has happened in my jurisdiction. I can go visit a client who's in custody, but their family members can't. So they can clamp down on that. They can clamp down on the number of vendors that come in to service things in the jail. So
yeah, but they're not 6 feet apart.
Yeah, no, this is what he says.
Yeah.
So what Avenatti, this is through his lawyer, said that the facility is especially dangerous because unsanitary conditions occur in a place where pre-trial defendants come from across the world and staff enters and leaves without being screened. He also notes that there's a recent 8-day lockdown because one of the guns from the officers was missing that was within the jail, so they're in a lockdown. He was confined in his cell with 3 rats, he says, 3 rats, and left inmates without clean water, forcing to drink from the sink that often contained brown water. So no hand sanitizers, and nobody's wearing masks or gloves. So this is what they're bringing up to the judge to try to get him out, temporary to wear an ankle brace thing, and he can go home while they're awaiting trial in Los Angeles right now. Is that correct? Because New York, he already was found guilty. Now they're doing Los Angeles. Is that right?
No, that's Weinstein.
That's Weinstein.
He's in back east. He's in New York.
Doesn't he?
He's in New York.
This is the Nike thing. You're still in New York, right?
Yeah, but doesn't he have to go? He's got one more trial.
He still has issues in New York. The state bar is still going
New York.
after him.
Got it. Okay.
But he's in New York, but he's still got to come back to California
That's
to
what I'm
face the
saying.
music there.
Because there's a Stormy Daniels issue.
Yes.
There's a couple more that are coming.
Here it is. Avenatti awaits June sentencing after he was convicted of trying to extort $25 million from sportswear giant Nike. He also faces criminal trials in New York next month and Los Angeles in May. That's why. Okay, so he's temporarily waiting for all that stuff, and they're saying, I want out because of the coronavirus. Well, there you go.
He didn't mind the 3 rats, except the third one was named Shemp instead of Curly. He
there
wanted
you
the
go.
funny ones. But anyway.
The thing about his argument, I think that Avenatti makes a great argument for the release of lower level inmates who are looking at serving terms if convicted of less than a year or less. He makes a great case for that, of which he is not part of that group. And if the courts decide, as they are considering, to release the lower level inmates to reduce the prison crowding, then his concerns are alleviated. He gets to space because, the crowd leaves. So thank you, Mr. Avenatti.
Well, we got also problems with Katy Perry that are getting better for her. Remember, this was a copyright infringement they're trying to claim. We talked about it. That she ripped off a Christian rapper song, and she won and the Christian rapper won $2.8 million. The appellate court just threw it out and said, nope, that's not going to be the case. Katy Perry did not, and also Capitol Records, they did not infringe upon his copyright of his song, and just basically said, they did not satisfy what's called the extrinsic test, which is requiring copyright plaintiff to identify concrete elements based on an objective criteria that works are similar. So basically, the court said, well, I don't care what the jury found. We don't find it, and it's out.
Wow.
So Katy Perry, even though 2.8, everyone's like, 2.8 million, that's great. No, that's not a lot of money when it comes to these copyright infringements, especially since that song probably made, at one time I knew what it made, but it was an astronomical amount of money. But now it's thrown out. So,
but to Juicy J, who didn't sell bupkis, comparatively, that 2.8 was a big deal to Juicy J.
But guess what? Right. What do we always say about these copyright infringement
publicity,
lawsuits?
Baby. Yeah.
Publicity. Now this Christian rapper guy has been talked about.
That's right.
So there you go.
And you remember the guy that stole the secrets from Google? His name was Mevandowski.
Yes. Tell me about that.
He has just pled guilty to stealing those secrets, and he's going to get no more. Well, he may get more. The judge has discretion, but the federal prosecutors agreed to recommend a prison term of no more than 30 months.
That's on the automatic driving car case? Is that what we're talking about?
The self-driving.
It's
a technology.
Right. Yeah, and he hired his competitors' people and grabbed their technology. Is that what happened? That was kind
he took Google's technology and then he took it over to not Uber. Yeah, it was Uber, wasn't it?
Yeah, whatever. Or took it to
the Uber-owned company. I don't think it was Uber directly.
Yes.
Yeah.
30 months. Okay, we'll see that. We're going to see what's
nothing.
happening there. No.
The only thing I would say about the Katy Perry case really quickly is that it wasn't an appeals court that did that. It was the judge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was the judge, notwithstanding a verdict.
JNOV. It's called a JNOV.
Yes, and so there will be an appeal to an appellate court, but it was the judge who heard all the evidence along with the jury that said.
I thought it was an appellate court.
I don't think so. So.
I know, because it was just like the beats or something, right? It wasn't like even the music part of it.
So what a JNOV is where the jury gives a verdict, and this is what they say. The judge can overturn it and say, nah, not enough, in my opinion.
Yep.
That tells you how much power. People say, well, who should I vote for Congress or for the Assembly? I'm like, well, I'd look at your judges. They've got more power than that. I mean, that's
right.
Look at that.
So that's called a judgment,
good
notwithstanding the verdict.
Yep, JNOV. Yeah.
I did note in one of the articles it was the attorney for the plaintiff in that case was quoted as saying, well, after we won the trial, I told my client, this is just the first hurdle. Don't start spending the money or get your hopes up yet, because we've got the JNOV to get passed, and then it ain't over till it's
thanks
over.
for being my co-host and checking. I thought for sure I thought it was the appellate. Maybe I read it wrong, but again, we're going as fast as we can through these cases because we're trying to get through them. Weinstein, the bankruptcy. So there's a Weinstein company, right? He has his own company that everyone's trying to get money out of him, and I believe it was. Again, don't quote me. I know it was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, his company. And his company was called...
Was it Miramax?
Miramax.
Yes.
Miramax. Films, and there's so many of these individuals that are claiming sexual harassment or what's the word?
Sexual assault.
Sexual assault. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Against his company, and now his company has declared bankruptcy. And the question is, what's going on with the bankruptcy there? I actually don't remember. I think the bankruptcy has been halted for. I remember. They suffered an appeal, the Weinstein Company's bankruptcy sale. I don't remember all the details of it, but all I know is basically they're trying to thwart the bankruptcy that is the plaintiffs, and apparently that
wasn't there a fight between those who had settled?
I don't remember. I just know the basics of this. I don't know all the details of it. That's why I'm just saying, trying to get through this. But anyway, basically they're trying to figure out whether or not this bankruptcy will be stayed or not. And that's where we are. So I don't remember that. I'm just trying to get through this as quick as I can.
They did reach the settlement back in December of 2019 for $25 million for 30 different women that had filed complaints. And so, they're going, I want to get that money before any bankruptcy goes down.
And then when we come back, we're going to talk about what I was trying to get to. I'm pushing is the Supreme Court cases and how it's going to affect us within the next 6 months.
Yes.
Todd's going to talk about that. Then we're going to get into our quick takes and talk about anything else you want to. Really briefly, what industries are going to be hurt worst and why, and how the bankruptcy attorneys are going to be really busy. We'll be back.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Radio Law Talk.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-814-5108. 800-814-5108. 800-814-5108. That's 800-814-5108.
At TicketChocolate.com, we believe that simplicity is best. We also know that chocolate is one of life's finest things that can help you savor your greatest moments. Late night visits with old friends, overdue romantic moments, and quiet mornings all to yourself. See their wide variety, like hot chocolate sticks or creamy marshmallows, and a lot more at TicketChocolate.com. They remind busy people like you to take time for the pleasure small things can give. TicketChocolate.com, where simplicity is best.
Not all law firms have extensive experience in all areas of the law. It's wise to look for firms that have knowledge and understanding in your particular area of concern. So go to prolawfirms.com. They have listings of attorneys in key areas of practice, such as family law, estate planning, personal injury, bankruptcy, and so forth. When you're looking for a lawyer that has extensive experience in your particular area of need, go to prolawfirms.com. That's prolawfirms.com.
ProLawFirms.com is not a law firm and does not endorse or recommend any specific law firm.
Today we decided to walk to school. At the corner, we waited to cross the street. The stoplight counted down. 15, 14,
31, 13.
We took a left on Carroll Garden Street. Loud music was coming from a car. Danny's a smart kid, but he gets so distracted.
There were so many other sounds. I didn't know what to focus on.
Danny, Earth to Danny. Suddenly, he realized he forgot his homework again.
I left my homework on the table.
At the school steps, we hugged goodbye. I really hope he doesn't have another bad day at school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Todd has a kitty. Oh, that's down.
Time to get back to Radio Law Talk on RadioLawTalk.com and on your favorite radio station.
Yeah, Todd does have kitties. We're talking about a lot of other things other than kitties. Talk about Supreme Court cases and how it's going to affect them. Some of them that have been put off because of the coronavirus.
So the Supreme Court publishes which cases they're going to hear in what month, in February and March. And the February cases obviously were argued. The March cases were put on hold. Those weren't heard. And by all counts, the April cases are going to be put on hold. These are for oral arguments. And there's a lot of them, but there were 2 specific issues, 3 cases covering 2 issues that, if these don't get heard and decisions aren't made, one of them could affect the upcoming election. And they come out of the state of Washington, and one out of the state of Washington and one out of the state of Colorado. And it has to do with if these are winner-take-all states for the Electoral College. So if a candidate wins the state, then all of the electors in that state theoretically are supposed to cast their votes for the candidate that won the state. But in Colorado, they had an issue where one of the electors didn't want to cast his vote and wanted to cast the vote for somebody else. And in Washington, there was a similar issue. So the issue before the court, the U.S. Supreme Court, deals with whether or not the elector has to cast their individual vote for the candidate that won that state. And that argument was supposed to be, or is scheduled to be heard on the 28th of April. And, you'd think that the Supreme Court justices, with the election coming up in November, would probably fast track that one for getting an opinion out so that it could be used and relied upon for the election in November. But if they can't hear it in April, then that may postpone that, and an issue that came up in a previous election may not be addressed. And so that was one of those that we're looking at to see if that issue will actually be argued before the court. Denise?
Wasn't there a question about whether or not it is within the purview of the state or the federal law to make the rules regarding the Electoral College?
I know that issue has come up in the Constitution. It leaves it up to the states to determine how those electoral votes will be apportioned within it. So it's typically a state function. But look, we have gotten very far from the need for and why the Electoral College was first instituted. And folks, by that, I am not suggesting that it needs to be abolished. I'm just saying that a lot of the issues that were attendant to it back in the late 1700s have changed, not the least of which was the inability to count all of the votes that would have been cast nationwide within a 24-hour period. That wasn't possible back then. But it's an issue that's going to be addressed by the court, and one that hopefully gets resolved before the election.
Could they actually call a special session? Did the Supreme Court allow that? They might be able to. I think they probably could call a special session in order to make the argument, even though it's not April 28th, maybe they can do it the next month.
The question becomes, can they stay a safe distance from each other, or can they do it virtually and remotely and not have to be together? Because these are very vulnerable justices.
Yes, they're older.
Because they're older, and they are in that realm of being very vulnerable. Some have had cancer.
I think they should. I think they could be able to do that.
I think so too, but I think it's unprecedented.
Why can't they do it via? They could argue via video or.
Well, my guess is that right now they are probably exploring all of the different alternatives for having the justices do this. I mean, there was not time to implement whatever changes for the month of March. But who knows? Maybe they come in like with a little plexiglass cubicle for each justice who comes in, and they can't do that, and they're all separated. I don't know, but they'll come up with something. Hopefully they get back, not just for these cases, but there are a lot of people that have cases that need to be adjudicated. The other one deals with the Affordable Care Act, and essentially there was a rule that was promulgated that expanded the number of employers that could, or insurance providers that could lodge a conscious objection to providing birth control benefits. And
for their employees.
For the employees. But the way that the new rule went about...
That's not the Hobby Lobby case.
I don't know if it is.
Okay,
no, this is it's Trump versus Pennsylvania is the case.
Right.
But the way this new rule came about, there was no public comment section, which is normally attendant when an agency promulgates new regulations. And so a lower court issued an injunction, and the injunction prevented the new rule from being put into place. And so the issues before the court are... can they make such a rule? Is a rule valid if they circumvent the public comment? And then the big one is this last thing about, can a lower court, is it appropriate to issue a nationwide injunction like this to prevent that rule going forward? And the reason I say that is because there have been comments in other dissents and in other opinions, specifically by Justice Thomas, where he takes issue with what appears to be judicial activism or whatever he calls it about lower court justices, a single judge in one jurisdiction issuing an injunction that affects the entire nation. And so the court's going to address the propriety of that.
Also, and they just overturned one of the injunctions based upon the public trust doctrine that has come up in the immigration thing. So that's recently happened, and that's why I think that Todd's
and that's becoming an
idea
issue,
is true.
Denise. Like you're saying, that's becoming an issue. Is a lower court that really is not as powerful all of a sudden can shut a country down, a federal court saying, "Oh, can't do that," shut the whole government down on an issue. On a major, and that's what they're arguing. Well, should they be able to do that? That's one issue.
Right, because courts often want to see how it impacts the public,
right?
And see all of that. If you have an injunction, they won't know how it's going to impact the public or how the public feels. And the Supreme Court wants to have a little bit of that in their back pocket to be able to utilize if they need.
Okay, let's do this quick because I want to get I'm going to get to something before quick.
One of the big reasons that came up was because a lot of people that appealed things went to the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit would issue the injunction, and the ruling, the rate of overturning Ninth Circuit opinions on the Supreme Court level was over 50%. And so the court's looking at that going, well, why are we allowing the Ninth Circuit to issue injunctions when over half the time we end up overturning what they did? So that's got to look at.
So here my granddaughter goes to this gymnastics gymnastics company that's been around for a long time, since I remember. They officially said they're closing their doors for good. They always were because of the coronavirus and everything that's going on. No one's coming. They were on such a thin margin. This phenomenal family-owned gymnastics company is shutting down for good. They're not going to reopen after coronavirus, and that's going to affect a lot of family businesses like that. It's sad. That's going to happen, and a lot of them are going to try to come back, but they're going to have bankruptcy issues, and so bankruptcy lawyers are going to be busy coming up trying to stay off people from collecting on bills, and it's going to affect then the people collecting the bills that have to pay their bills. You see, so it's almost like a waterfall. But what are some of the industries you think that are going to be the worst? I'm going to say the cruise line industry is going to struggle. That's for sure.
Yes.
What do you think, Denise?
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Denise.
Dance studios, and gymnastics, vocal training, stuff like that. Yeah.
Nail salons,
yes.
Beauty salons,
yes.
Any kind of personal service type of businesses are going to be.
What
really
about
hard
big,
hit.
like water parks or stuff like that, where people gather together, or concerts? I've heard, Todd, was it you that was telling me that the guys going out on concert on tour? A lot of them, don't forget, they're all not Katy Perry. Some of them are smaller bands. They have no money.
But they're doing virtual tours now. So they're actually doing virtual concerts online
Wow.
and able to set that up. That was something I read today, and I thought that was amazing.
So what they're saying right now is that for the smaller musical acts that are playing the local clubs and stuff, that on average they are losing out on about 30 gigs per quarter. Okay,
wow.
That's 30 gigs per quarter for a total lost revenue of almost $700.
Hey, no.
Because they don't get any money for that.
For a working man, that could kill you. But
No, I think that, like you say, the amusement park, the bowling alleys, all
Yep,
of that.
That's it.
I'm glad that we got a chance to discuss the myriad of topics today on Radio Law Talk. But, of course, now it's time for Fred Penney and his Quick Take.
Now that bankruptcy attorneys are going to get rich and make a lot of money, and there's a lot of openings right now in bankruptcy attorneys, you know those personal injury lawyers that think they know what they're doing? Get out of my home and go back to bankruptcy. There you go.
All right, get out of, leave my turf alone. Mr. Cunin.
What's the biggest difference between COVID-19 and Romeo and Juliet? Well, one is a coronavirus and the other is a Verona crisis.
Very nice.
And
Denise.
here's for some good news. Carnival Cruise is offered its ships as hospitals, and New Jersey officers are delivering meals and groceries to the elderly, and there are two chefs. One has transformed his restaurants into temporary soup kitchens, and the other one is giving free cooking classes on Instagram.
See you next week.
All right.
You have been listening to RadioLawTalk.com, a copyrighted presentation of Radio Law Talk Incorporated.
I'm Wayne Allen Root. I want all of you to get real. Get real. Get real water, that is. I live and die with my real water. It's the only stable negative ion alkaline water in America. I drink it everywhere I go, and it tastes great, too. Real water has upped their game again. Now with the Real Water Concentrate, you can get real water anytime, anywhere on the go. Just a few squirts of the Real Water Concentrate, and you can transform any good purified water into real water. Basically, the concentrate adds trillions of extra electrons, turning your water into an alkaline, electron-abundant powerhouse. And here's an additional benefit. You can put Real Water Concentrate in your coffee, tea, or juice. Heck, it even improves cheap wine. I challenge you to give it the taste test. You'll be amazed. Here's the deal. Since you're one of my listeners, you get a free bottle of the Real Water Concentrate. Free. 100% free. All you have to do is pay the small shipping and handling fee. Call 702-381-1217. Tell them War sent you and get your free bottle. 702-381-1217. Go to teamgetreal.com.